with 23 points. And this is what Jimmy Boeheim needs from this young man, because you take a look at the first 16 games, 15 points a game. Well, let's not forget, he's a sophomore, but he's really a freshman because he's only played the first season for Jimmy Boeheim.
Now Rutgers is 11-13 overall, 5-11 in the Big East, and the Scarlet Knights are getting great production from the Big East Rookie of the Week.
Kevin Bannon's first recruit ever, Jeff Greer, and he's proved to be a sensational freshman. Look at these numbers, solid across the board. And Bobby, looking from behind the arc, 11 for 22, 50%. When Earl Johnson does not have Jeff Billett, he's got this guy in the left wing to knock home the three, and he's one of the few guys on this Scarlet Knight team that has the ability to get everybody in the rack on their feet with good execution of the reverse dunk.
Look like you in your Villanova days there, Mark. Now, Jim Boeheim won his 500th game against Rutgers a year ago. Tonight, it will be his 700th career game at Syracuse, the 25th for Kevin Bannon at Rutgers. Back with the starting lineups after this. And welcome back to the Lewis Brown Athletic Center, where it is senior night at Rutgers. And moments ago, Eric Clark, who is fourth in career block shots here at Rutgers, was honored before the game as part of the senior night ceremonies and received a great ovation from the near capacity crowd of over 8,000 here at Rutgers. Eric Clark, the senior from Rockford, Illinois. Time to check out the starting lineups. First for Rutgers, Eric Clark will get the start at center. He is leading the team in rebounding and also in field goal percentage. The coach of the Scarlet Knights in his first year, Kevin Bannon, he's the winningest 40-year-old coach in America. The starting lineup for Syracuse. Senior forward Todd Bergen leads the Orange in scoring, and he's the Big East Player of the Week. And the win Monday night at Villanova made Jim Boeheim, he looks excited, doesn't he, Mark?
Can't wait to start up here, bud.
A 20-game winner for the 20th time in 22 years at Syracuse. That's an amazing accomplishment.
It's amazing, more amazing last year when they did not accomplish it. That made all the headlines.
Last year they only won 19. The jumping center will be Clark for Rutgers and Etan Thomas for Syracuse, and the tap is knocked out of bounds. Last touch by the Orange, and it will be Rutgers ball. And should be interesting, Mark, to see if Syracuse sticks in their trademark 2-3 zone all night long against this Rutgers three-point attack.
Well, I think they're going to switch it up, but against 2-3, you're going to watch this Rutgers team really move the ball around. And we mentioned Jeff Greer has the ability to hit the three, but you can't leave Jeff Billett open for a split second.
This is Greer to Clark at the baseline, hits the cutter Hodgson, and Hodgson will get to the line.
The weakness of the 2-3, if you can get the ball to the baseline, you're going to have an advantage outside. And Hodgson, just always fundamentally sound, got to the right place, cutting down the lane.
And Hodgson is an amazing free throw shooter. He shares the team lead with Billett both at 83.5%. Earl Johnson's third on this team, and he's only shooting 81.5%.
Yeah, I'd like to shoot for a Big Mac with those three guys. He could be here all night.
The foul was on Bergen. It's his first. Hodgson, 6'7", 220-pound junior from Mastic Beach, New York, makes them both. And Rutgers with the quick 2-0 lead. It was 7 weeks ago at the Carrier Dome when the Scarlet Knights lost a heartbreaker. And Mark, Rutgers starts out defensively man-to-man.
Man-to-man, and Coach Kevin Bannon, Bob, would love to go man-to-man the whole game, but he only has really 7 guys that he can play. So he's going to start man-to-man as long as he can. Continue to force turnovers like right there, and when he has to, he'll drop back into his zone.
So the feed down low to Thomas, out of bounds, and Syracuse turns it over. So Rutgers with the ball and an early 2-0 lead. This is Greer, the Big East Rookie of the Week. Brother Ricardo had a terrific game for Pittsburgh this afternoon.
A great win for Ralph Willard.
Also a freshman is Ricardo. Earl Johnson will take the long three and gets it. And Rutgers off to a 5-0 lead.
This is what this Rutgers teams need, Bob. Whenever they're playing, whether it's on at home or on the road, if they can get out to a quick shooting start, they're a tough team to make up a deficit against because they're very, very methodical.
It will be Greer on Bergen. That's a tough matchup for Rutgers, but Kevin Bannon considers Greer as certainly his best perimeter defender. Bergen drives as it knocked away. Last touch by Rutgers. Syracuse ball with 14 left in the shot clock.
And Jimmy Boeheim has more horses in his stable, so if he can weather the storm early, he can come in with a couple of substitutes and force this 5-man unit for Rutgers to get more fatigue as the evening goes on.
Shot clock running down as Jason Hart, between the legs dribble, kick out to Giannoulis. He turns and throws it up just in time to beat the shot clock.
Offense by accident. Sometimes it's the best type.
This is Earl Johnson. He hit a three last time down. It's Rutgers by 3. We've played almost 2 minutes here on senior night at Rutgers. Johnson on the right to Billett. Puts it on the floor. Now Rob Hodgson. He throws up the 3 and buries it.
When Rutgers hits their three-point shots, they fire on all cylinders. They just have to come back down and match it on the defensive end.
Hodgson, the terrific three-point shooter in the year, 41.8% from behind the arc. Down low Thomas for that sweet position.
And a good job by Eric Clark. He's playing out of position. He's really a natural power forward. And when you give up a position like that, don't waste a foul as well.
Syracuse extending the defense that time. Greer for 3. Long rebound, loose in the lane. And Rutgers controls. Good hustle by Clark, and he is fouled on the reach-in. Will be on Hart, his first 2 on Syracuse.
Well, Syracuse did a good job boxing out that time, Bob. The ball actually bounced on the floor before the rebound. Here's what I was talking about down low. Eric Clark gave up the position. You can see no one ever wants to get dunked upon, but why waste an early foul? Because you want to be in there all 40 minutes.
This is Billett on the kick out for 3. Back rims it. Giannoulis with the rebound in the lane, and here comes Syracuse down by 4. It's Blackwell. Kick out to Hart for the pull-up. Rebound batted around and controlled by Billett as Rutgers looks to run. Pass goes behind Johnson, nearly stolen by Bergen. Greer fakes his man in the air. Inside Johnson, and he lays it in.
What a great move. Earl Johnson very comfortable in the paint, playing against the big guys. Took his time, gathered himself, and laid it up and in.
So Johnson has 5. Hodgson has 5. Syracuse has only 4. A little over 3 minutes gone by. This is Bergen. Puts it on the floor. Bounce pass and kicked by Hodgson. So a new shot clock for Syracuse. And it's Blackwell who gives to Hart. And Hart will call out the play. Blackwell, as we mentioned at the top of the telecast, a huge game in the win over Villanova on Monday night. Maybe his best outing.
He has all the skills. Very strong young man. He can shoot from the perimeter, and he loves to take the ball off the dribble and get to the rim.
Leads the team in rebounding. In the lane, it's Thomas. Lays it up. Gets his own rebound. Misses the follow. And here comes Rutgers 3-on-2 if they hurry. Billett gives to the trailer Hodgson, and he's called for steps. Well, the good news is they had the 3-on-2. The bad news is the man in the middle with the ball was your center.
Yeah, they got stuck with the ball handle on the wing, and Jeff Greer had his feet set. He made the shot after the turnover. Maybe a good sign for the young freshman.
That's why God created guards. Not for Eric Clark to bring the ball up the floor. Jason Hart. Nice feed inside to Thomas for the jam.
Tom Thomas is just a bad matchup for Rutgers, and if I'm Jim Boeheim and the Cuse, I want to dump it down low as often as possible and draw that double team, then kick it back out to Bergen.
So 4 for Thomas. It's Rutgers by 4. Earl Johnson to Greer. High post Hodgson turnaround. Gets the roll. He's got 7.
Well, the Cuse plays that wide open 2-3 zone defense. They really extend in the passing lanes, and a guy that knows what he's doing can get open in that middle area.
Bergen for 3. Front rims it. Rebound in the lane Johnson. So Rutgers with the ball and a 6-point lead. Billett on the right. Down low Clark. Spins, works his way in, and lays it in up and over Thomas.
And Clark had stared at Tom Thomas's sneakers the last 2 times down, recipient of the dunk. That time he wanted a little bit of his own. Great strong move.
So Rutgers by 8. Now the crowd starts to get into it. The Scarlet Knights 5 for 7 from the floor. Traveling violation on Syracuse. And we have a timeout on the court with 15:04 to go. Eric Clark and Rutgers lead Syracuse by 8. Back in New Jersey, where Rutgers has taken an 8-point lead and showing patience against that 2-3 Syracuse zone.
Well, the young sophomore Thomas has 99 block shots coming into today's game. But when you go up for the fake, you get way out of the play, and Earl Johnson capitalized. But it's the sophomore Thomas who really is, as we mentioned, a tough matchup for Rutgers. When he gets the ball down low, he can finish with the best of them.
And there you see Thomas's numbers in his last 7 games. 79% from the floor.
A high percentage shot when you're 11 feet, throwing it down to a 10-foot rim.
Well, he's taken a couple of those high percentage shots tonight. Following the timeout, Hodgson for 3. He's got 10 points in the first 5 minutes and 15 seconds.
His feet were set a good 3 seconds before he caught the ball. He was 22 feet away.
So Hart will walk it across the timeline for Syracuse. The Orange 20-5 on the year, 10-4 in the Big East. Game-and-a-half lead over Miami in the Big East 7. Bergen to Blackwell. Down low Thomas. He's doubled, and Johnson fouls him from behind. First foul on Rutgers.
Well, a tough foul to take because Earl Johnson had a great idea, Bobby. He was sneaking in from behind. Unfortunately, got the arm, and the referee was right behind him.
Bergen to throw the inbound. Gives it to Hart. This is Giannoulis. Bergen comes around the screen, receives the pass, puts it on the floor. Hart between the circles. They want Thomas down low. Again, he's doubled, and this time fouled from behind by Greer.
Well, rather than going for the steal last 2 times down with Johnson and Greer, just stand still. Make a clamp double team. And don't make the referee bail you out with an easy foul.
So Bergen to inbound. Giannoulis to Blackwell. Gives to the cutter Bergen. Knocked loose from behind, but Bergen controls anyway. Still works on Greer. Fade away. Rebound Earl Johnson.
And Johnson will sneak in there 4 or 5 times a game.
Look at the feed. Billett to Clark.
How about Eric Clark running the lane? He caught the ball at the top of the key.
How about Rutgers up by 13 mark as Jim Boeheim wants a 22nd timeout?
Well, everybody's talking about the St. John's game looming next week up at the Carrier Dome. A couple of 20-win performers in the Big East. You cannot forget about this Rutgers team, especially at home. They've had some impressive victories. Todd Bergen, Bob, looking like he wants to get on the board, working it into the lane, and Earl Johnson quickly getting the ball out. And Eric Clark just sprinting down the middle and finishing.
9-0 Rutgers run. Jim Boeheim told me this week that he thinks that this place, the Rack, as it's perhaps not so affectionately known, at least to the opponents, he thinks it's the best home court advantage in the league.
We were talking earlier, you and I, before we went on the air, a lot of teams around the conference trying to create the atmosphere that Rutgers already has here. About 9,000 people. It's big enough to match up against opponents, but not too small where you have to go play in the Meadowlands or the Spectrum or the Core States.
Rutgers had the foresight to build this facility 21 years ago. Now everybody wants a facility like this on campus. Of course, the one Syracuse has isn't too bad.
Not bad at all. But don't forget, Rutgers practices here every day, and the Cuse does not practice at the Dome every day. They practice at Manly a good number of times.
This is Giannoulis. You see the shot clock running down. Giannoulis misses the jumper. Rebound Thomas, who fakes his way up. Rebound Blackwell. Foul Hodgson. That's 3 team fouls on the Scarlet Knights.
Well, the front line of the Cuse with Bergen, Blackwell, and especially Thomas working the rebounds. They're not getting a lot of offensive rebound putbacks right now, Bob, but with the activity, they're drawing a lot of fouls, and this Rutgers team cannot afford to get wasted fouls.
And we will have a foul off the ball on Syracuse, setting up the screen.
Take a look at Jimmy Boeheim, Bob. He's trying to figure out why he's down 13. What's wrong with his team? In the motion offense, a lot of times you try to set a hard screen. That time he was moving, got called for the foul.
And look at this. Syracuse has switched to the man out of the timeout. And it will be Bergen on Greer, Blackwell on Hodgson, Giannoulis on Billett. And down low, Clark lays it in over Thomas, who was slow getting there.
Eric Clark playing like a senior in his last home game. Very active. And as soon as he catches the excellent bounce pass on the entry, goes up strong.
6 points for Eric Clark. A 15-point Rutgers lead. Pull-up jumper in the lane. Blackwell no good. Rebound Hodgson. Johnson is trapped. Gets it out to Hodgson. Rutgers 8 of 10 from the floor mark.
Well, Rutgers, they have to match up man-to-man with Syracuse, but notice how well they take their time with the ball.
Hodgson gets it inside, but he's called for traveling for the second time. I love Jim Boeheim's sort of, at least outwardly casual approach. I asked him yesterday what he thought of his chances of hanging on the Big East 7 and he said, well, we don't worry about that. And I said, how about the seeding? Well, we don't worry about that. He says, we just want to be playing well come March. And they usually are.
Well, and that's a great point because this Syracuse team, is up here with 20 wins. They're not playing great. There's still room to peak for the Cuse.
Syracuse, oddly enough, has lost only 1 road game in league play, that at Notre Dame, and Blackwell loses the handle inside. So another turnover for the Orange, and we're going to step aside with a timeout. It's a big night for Eric Clark on senior night at Rutgers. His club leads Syracuse by 15. Rutgers with an early 15-point lead. All right, Mark, quickie quiz. What do Seton Hall, Pittsburgh, Notre Dame, Providence, and Georgetown all have in common?
Losses here at the rack.
Losses.
Big time
losses.
It's amazing. And take a look at that average margin, 20.5 points. The difference being, Bob, when they're at home, this Rutgers team holds the opposition to 38% from the floor. On the road, they give up 45%. And guess what? The Cuse 3 for 10 early on at 30%.
Rutgers 5-3 at home in league play. No wins on the road in league play. Sam Sanders in the lineup for Rutgers following the timeout. This is an 11-0 Scarlet Knights run. So Greer is out. Sanders is in at the small forward position. That's him with the ball. Defended by Unulis. Shot clock inside 10. It's Johnson. Gets a screen. Kick out to Clark. Fakes Thomas in the air. Sanders. Not sure he's, well, in fact, I am sure he's not the one you want taking that shot.
He's definitely the one you want to take the shot if you're Jimmy Boeheim. And Kevin Bannon wants Sam Sanders to get out there and play D on Todd Bergen, slash, get the offensive rebound. He's a great athlete, but he's not a great three-point shooter yet.
Sanders 2 of 14 from behind the arc on the year. This is Unulis to Hart, defended by Johnson. Trying to go inside to Thomas. Clark won't let them get it there. Shot clock inside 10. Bergen feeds Thomas.
He's in the right place at the right time. He gets the lane open, but look at Clark beat him down the court.
But Thomas stepped on the end line as he tried to steal the ball, so it will be a Rutgers ball with a new shot clock at a 13-point lead.
A pass from Billett, Bob, about half a second too late, or they would have had an easy breakaway layup.
So it comes out to Billett, who's 12th all-time in Big East play and three-point field goals made. Nice feed inside to Clark. Crowd wanted a foul, won't get it. And instead, at the baseline, there will be a foul on Rutgers. What do we have here? Besides a lot of dissatisfaction among the paying customers.
Well, this is late. I think they're going to say that Eric Clark pushed off. You know, when those point guards go flying, it's not your fault. That's your 6'8", right, Eric? Good acting job by Jason Hart.
1 on Clark, 4 on Rutgers. Down low, Blackwell. Spin, shoots over Hodgson. Rebound, weak side, Thomas. And a new clock for Syracuse. This is Bergen working on Sanders. Blackwell defended by Hodgson. We have reached the midway point of the half. Hart starts to drive. Now Hart was hammered, but the call by Andre Patillo was that he charged before he got hammered.
Interesting call, Bob. I agree. Let's take a look. Good job turning the corner. He's taking it right in.
Oh.
I think when Jimmy Boeheim checks that one out on the replay in the hotel room, he might disagree with the men from the Foot Locker.
This is Hodgson for 3. Can't get it to fall. Bergen has the rebound knocked out of bounds by Sanders, so it will be Syracuse ball, and we will get a look at the big fella, Alvydas Tanis, for the first time for Rutgers. Tanis, a sophomore from Vichne, Lithuania. And Earl Johnson sits down, and so does Eric Clark. Greer back in for Rutgers. Tanis was the starting center at the beginning of the year, and Kevin Bannon really hoped that he could get away with playing Tanis at center, playing Clark at the 4, which is his natural position, Hodgson at the 3, which is his natural position. Didn't work out because Tanis just wasn't ready to play.
That's exactly right. He was not ready to play. But as of late, he's been improving his game, and he was very physical in the first possession with Etan Thomas right there.
So off the Hart in this 3, it's Rutgers. Sanders gives to Tanis. Nice ball fake. Kick out Billett. Cross court Sanders. Baseline Billett wants to go on Thomas. Shoots over him. Oh!
There you go, Bob. Good fundamental jump hook. Earlier in the season, he would have turned around and taken that jump shot. Not intimidated by Mr. Thomas's 99 block shots.
So again, the lead is 15. Bergen throws up the 3 over Sanders. Rebound Hodgson.
Bergen getting frustrated. Great job by the Scarlet Knights, really focusing in on the defensive end against Mr. Bergen.
So with Johnson out, Greer now playing the 2 for Rutgers, and Sanders the 3. Hodgson, another wide open 3. Can't get it to fall. It's Bergen. running the break. Now feeds baseline Blackwell. He had stepped on the end line.
Maybe a little late. Blackwell ran out of room, only 94 feet. He needed 95. Todd Bergen maybe give up that ball at the top of the key, and Blackwell has a one-dribble dunk in the lane.
6 turnovers for Syracuse. Thomas will get his first rest of the evening, and Elvir Avcina, 6'11 junior from Bosnia, checks into the lineup for Syracuse. A 15-point Rutgers lead on senior night here at the Rack. Bob Picozzi along with Mark Plansky. We're glad you could join us. This is Syracuse's final road game of the year. Tenise gave up the dribble and is called for traveling. And I think that call maybe beat a 5-second call by, what do you think, a 1 count maybe?
Turnover waiting to happen, but not necessarily the big fella's fault. Tenise not used to being 18 feet away from the hole. Good job by Syracuse pressuring the big guy outside on the perimeter.
So Bergen will get his first rest of the evening, and we see Alan Griffin, freshman from Brooklyn, New York, in the lineup for Syracuse. Bergen is 0 for 3 from the floor.
When Syracuse has Opchiner in the lineup, it's more of a 5 perimeter offense. Nobody really taking up space down low.
This is Blackwell. Kick out to Griffin, and Blackwell's called for traveling. And we're going to get a timeout with 7:47 to go in the first half. Rutgers leads Syracuse by 15. You're watching Big East basketball. A little under 8 minutes to go in the half. Rutgers by 15, and Alvidas Tenise getting a quick flavor as he entered, Mark.
Well, here's his first possession against the hot Etan Thomas. Thomas trying to let him know that this is his territory in the red paint, but he sticks right with it, and when he gets his chance with the rock, takes his time. No intimidation right there. Up and over the big guy for a nice jump hook.
Well, when you've played over 12 minutes and you have more turnovers than field goals made, it adds up to a 15-point deficit. Syracuse just 4 field goals, 7 turnovers. Look at the shooting percentage.
We mentioned Rutgers holding the opponents to 38% from the floor here at the Rack. Big part of that is the 6th man. 9,000 crazy red and white sweaters. And when the Rutgers Scarlet Knights, Bob, are hitting the 3-pointers the way they are, this place is very tough to play.
Syracuse only 2 points in the last 8 minutes and 8 seconds. The Orange remain in the man-to-man. They started the game in their trademark 2-3 zone, but a couple of Rutgers threes changed that in a hurry. Shot clock inside 10. This is Billett. Gives to Greer. Works on Hart. To Hodgson. Wide open high post jumper. And an over-the-top rebound foul on Sam Sanders. His first and 5 on the Rutgers club.
Well, that's what Sanders brings to the Scarlet Knights team. A good activity on both backboards. A couple of times, 3 or 4 times, Bob. Rutgers has taken that shot clock down to 3 or 4 seconds and not panicked. That was a good shot by Hodgson.
Billett will get a rest for Rutgers. Earl Johnson back in, and Bergen is returned to the lineup for Syracuse. Griffin remains at the point as Hart gets a rest for the Orange men.
Bergen has a young freshman, Bob, on him. Take him down low. He's got a good 20 pounds on him.
Avcina for 3. No good. Long rebound. Yanulis, and a new clock for the Orange. It's Griffin. He throws up the 3.
Heads up. Oof. That was mandatory earplugs.
Well, it eventually hit the rim, but on its return trip from the backboard. This is Sanders. Nice feed inside Clark. Can't get it to go, but he will get to the line. Nice look from Sanders.
And Clark had a good rest. Good couple of minutes while his teammates were out there holding this 15-point lead. Bergen takes himself out of the play, and all of a sudden it's 5-on-4. Good wraparound bounce pass. 2 or 3 times we've seen Rutgers execute that entry pass.
So the foul on Yanulis, his second. 5 on Syracuse's. Eric Clark goes to the line. 6'8", 205-pound senior from Lutheran High School in Rockford, Illinois. Kevin Bannon told me that Clark's had a much better senior year offensively than we expected.
We take a look at Sanders going out to a good ovation. Very respectable crowd here, understanding his effort. This guy here, Eric Clark, though, always working hard. And on senior night, Bob, speaking as a former player, either you have a real good performance or a real bad performance. And it looks like Clark's off to a real good one.
So following the second miss, Rutgers with the rebound. Billett for 3. Can't get it to go. Rebound of Chena. And here comes Syracuse down 16. This is the biggest lead of the night for the Scarlet Knights, who had won 3 in a row before losing at Boston College, then at Seton Hall in their last 2. You notice for 3 from behind the screen. Rebound batted around, lots of contact, and the foul will be against Syracuse.
What's happening, Bob, is Syracuse is being forced into a half-court game, and instead of taking their time and making 2 or 3 more passes than they need to, like Rutgers is, they're taking the first available shot, and without Thomas in the game, actively getting the offensive rebounds. One and done for Rutgers.
Foul on Griffin, his first 6 on Syracuse, who is now 0 for 6 from 3-point range. And there you see what they've done in a half of a half. Nice look inside to Hodgson. Hodgson now with 12 points. The lead is 18.
Fundamental basketball. The Scarlet Knights are pounding it down low, and Syracuse cannot keep it up.
This is Bergen, works on Greer, loses the handle, gets it back. Bergen is yet to score, and he's averaging 17.4 per game. He, of course, leads Syracuse in that department. This is Alcina. Nice feed into the post to Thomas, but he lost the handle. Here's Greer, and Rutgers with numbers here. Johnson drives, and he's hammered. Could have been Alcina, could have been Thomas. They say Thomas, and that will be number 1 on him. Syracuse is now over the limit, but since Johnson was in the act of shooting, he'll get a couple.
Earl Johnson was the guy at the Carrier Dome on January 4th who sparked the comeback. Good job going right to the hole. And how about him taking on the 7-footer and the 6'10" guy? Get out of here. This is my territory.
Interesting to see Johnson's position of his feet as he lines up for the free throw. He is nowhere near the center. He is way right of center, as you see. Whatever works, huh?
Shooting 81.5%. I don't think Kevin Band's going to make him come back to the middle until he drops down to 60 range.
Right. Well, Will Chamberlain used to shoot from the middle. And on the rebound, look at Hodgson at first. Doesn't get it, but he does get the appreciation of the crowd.
This guy never says die. Gets himself involved. Hand on the ball. All out.
So the lead is now 19 as Bergen airmails a pass. Hart manages to save as we reach the 5-minute mark. Bergen on the right, puts it on the floor. He's doubled by Hodgson, and Greer tried to throw it off one of them, doesn't do it, but instead it comes inside to Hart. His shot is blocked by Clark. Up the floor, Johnson, 3 on 2. Kick out Greer for 3.
Well, that's a couple of 3-pointers by Greer and Billett that could have really put this game into the 20-point range.
And Bergen throws up a 3. Missed the rim, but Blackwell there for the putback. Bergen has gone 15 and a half minutes without scoring.
And you can tell he's very frustrated. A guy that's used to scoring 17 points a game has the ability to take his own team out of the game when he gets that frustrated.
This is Clark, gives to the cutter Johnson. Nice head fake, but he dragged the back foot, says official Joe Vigna. So a traveling violation, 5 turnovers on the Scarlet Knights, but they lead it by 17. Kevin Bannon may only be 40 years old, but he already has 287 wins in the bank in his career.
Syracuse continuing to run their motion offense, but I really think they should just post up Bergen on Greer. He has the size advantage. Let him get an easy gimme down low first, Bob, and then let him work out.
And Unulis, as he starts to drive, we're going to get an offensive foul. They say he hooked him, and that will be number 3 on Unulis. Jim Boeheim's amused. At least outwardly. We're going to get a timeout. 3:56 to go in the first half, and that is the correct score, folks. Rutgers up by 17. It's 5-11 Rutgers by 17 over 17th ranked Syracuse. A little under 4 minutes to go. Elsewhere tonight in the Big East, 7th ranked UConn leading Villanova by 1 first half. Couple of afternoon games in the Big East. Pittsburgh with a come-from-behind home court win over Providence. Georgetown winning at home. Outside the Big East, there's the stunner. Top-ranked North Carolina not only losing to NC State, but losing at the Dean Dome. Third-ranked Arizona with a win on the road in the Pac-10. Number 4 Kansas winning at home in the Big 12. There's another big upset. Purdue, number 6, losing on the road. TCU with a one-sided win over New Mexico. Syracuse still in the man-for-man. Down low, Billett feeds Clark, and Clark is called for traveling. Syracuse shooting just 24% from the floor, 0 for 7 from three-point range.
And on the other side, Rutgers 53%. Obviously, Coach Boeheim just wants to get to the locker room and try to cut this as much as possible, assuming that the numbers will turn around.
This is Bergen down low. Sanders is back in. A discontinued dribble on Bergen and another turnover on the Orange. That would be their 10th. And Syracuse has beaten Rutgers 7 straight times. They're 4-0 against Rutgers since Rutgers joined the Big East. Syracuse 3-1 here at the Rutgers Athletic Center. The last time Rutgers beat Syracuse was 20 years ago. Now, granted, they didn't play every year, since Rutgers played in a different league up until 3 years ago, but 20 years is a long time.
I think we get your point. 17-point deficit here. Syracuse down. Records to be broken.
This is Billett. Gives to Sanders. Nice look inside. Hodgson with the turnaround. Rob Hodgson with 14 points. He's already equaled his average on the year, but he's done it in the first 17 minutes.
How about the confidence? The weakness of the 2-3 zone around the foul line area. Catches and shoots quickly.
This is Griffin. Leaves for Bergen, who has yet to score. Griffin beats Billett off the dribble. Drives. A lot of contact, no foul. Hodgson picks up the loose ball. Behind the back to Johnson. Sanders returns to Johnson. They got a little too fancy there. But the ball was last touched by Syracuse. So Rutgers ball with 29 left in the shot clock.
It was great watching both coaches on that transition. Jimmy Boeheim praying for a foul to begin with, and Kevin Bannon can't believe the behind-the-back, back-and-forth passes on the fast break, giving up an easy deuce.
So this is Johnson. Syracuse back in the zone. They started the night in the zone, then switched man. Now back in the 2-3. Billett gives to Johnson. Shot clock at 10. Clark baseline feed. Under Sanders.
When you play defense for 30 of the 35 seconds, you have a tendency to relax and turn your head. And this Rutgers team is being juvenated by the sixth man, the 8,000 crazy people at the rack.
Bergen inside, misses the shot, but a foul. So Bergen will go to the line with Rutgers enjoying its biggest lead of the night, 21. How about Eric Clark with the big fella with the feed?
You can see a double team as Sam Sanders remains active on the side. And Sanders knows where the camera is. He's staring. Great elevation. Sam Sanders has tremendous vertical leap.
So 18 minutes and 5 seconds into the game, Syracuse with its first free throw attempt of the night, and Todd Bergen with his first point of the night. The 6'7", 230-pound senior from Detroit, preseason second-team All-Big East, leads Syracuse in scoring, second in rebounding, assists, free throw shooting, and three-point shooting. He does it all.
How about all 5 guys for Syracuse are averaging 10 points or greater. They only have 12 points with a minute 45 left to go as a team.
Clark inside misses the easy shot. Rebound Hart. In fact, the starters for both teams all averaging in double figures. And Bergen suddenly heats up. Gets his first field goal of the night. It's a trifecta. And Kevin Bannon calls for a 20-second timeout as Syracuse has trimmed that lead to 16. Some more out-of-town scores as Kevin Bannon goes to regroup. UMass just surviving, needed a 3 at the buzzer to force overtime, winning in overtime. 24th ranked Xavier with a big win on the road over Duquesne. Number 15 Michigan State beats Wisconsin on the road. Number 14 Mississippi winning on the road over its interstate rival. 16 Arkansas with the hammer over Auburn. And Jim Boeheim with a little shrug. Todd Bergen with his first field goal of the night.
Well, he hit a couple of free throws. You get the lid off the basket, and then in rhythm, the patented set shot for Todd Bergen.
Syracuse back in the man. Rutgers just absolutely tore up that 2-3 zone to shreds the last 2 times down. Feed inside to Clark. He's doubled. And the ball knocked out of bounds by Syracuse. Rutgers ball, 22 left on the shot clock. Earl Johnson to do the honors. Syracuse will go zone off the inbound. Johnson on the left. Directs traffic. Johnson again for 3. Missed everything. Rebound Bergen. He had Griffin up the floor. Didn't see him. Minute to go in the half. It's Rutgers by 16 on senior night in Piscataway. Between the legs dribble. Hart misses the jumper. Thomas rebound. And he is fouled. Was it Johnson from the front or Clark from the rear? It will be Clark, and it will be number 3.
And that obviously hurts the senior, playing with great emotion, picking up that third foul with only 53 seconds left in the half.
And Kevin Bannon's bench is very, very short as it is. He only plays 7 people. As a matter of fact, 8 times this year he's only used 7 players. He's got 4 guys who are averaging over 30 minutes a game. So with Clark out, Tenise is back in, and hitting the first free throw is Thomas. 6'9", 231-pound sophomore from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Mark, you mentioned that he entered the ballgame with 99 blocked shots. That's the second most in a season in Syracuse history. He's already 6th in career blocked shots at Syracuse. Not even finished his sophomore year.
Talking to Bernie Fine, he said, Mark, in a couple of years when this guy's a senior, we're going to be talking before the game, and we're going to be talking lottery pick. That's how good of a player he thinks he can become, because he's a good kid and a hard worker.
Johnson beats Griffin off the dribble, misses the layup. Rebound in the lane to Thomas. And about a 6-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock. Syracuse down 14. On the right, Hart with the pull-up over Tenise. Rebound inside Hart, batted back by Tenise. Hart gets it a third time. Kick out to Griffin. Wide open 3. Got it.
That's big, obviously. Down to 11-point lead.
So now the shot clock is off. The time you see on the screen, the time remaining in the half. It's Johnson defended by Griffin. Wants to get a screen from Hodgson and does. It's Billett with 3. Drives. Thomas with the block, and that'll do it. So Syracuse, I would think, would be reasonably content considering they were 19 points in arrears a moment ago. They've cut it to 11. At the end of the first half at the Rutgers Athletic Center in Piscataway, Rutgers leading Syracuse by a score of 31-20 on senior night at the Rack. For this afternoon right here at Rutgers.
In the 1-4 set, Murphy blocked by Sutton Brown. No timeout, gotta go. Stewart feeds it from half court. That's so nice. Stewart with the 3-point shot at the buzzer. Rutgers wins it.
Beck Mowens with the call. Rutgers with the win, clinching first place in the Big East 7 division. Maybe that helped inspire the Rutgers men. They're leading Syracuse by 11 at the half. When we come back, we will take a look at our halftime feature, the new guard in the Big East. Achieving great success in his first year at Rutgers, Jeff Greer has found his experiences challenging.
It's a lot more physical. I think it's a lot more physical. I think in practice, I put myself in practice a little bit better. I think I try to go out in every practice as if it was a game situation and stuff like that, and put myself in the game and see how I do in practice, and hopefully it'll transfer onto the game.
Greer's preparation has been a positive boost. He brings 10.7 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 3 assists to the table nightly.
For me inside, I think I was going to come in here and do a couple of things that a lot of people would like and would be amazed to see me do as a freshman.
Jeff's brother Ricardo is a freshman at Pittsburgh. He's back in New Jersey, where at the half, Rutgers stunning Syracuse 31-20. Bob Picozzi along with Mark Plansky before a nearly sold-out Rutgers Athletic Center crowd. And let's take a look at the highlights, halftime highlights brought to you by Walker Muffler, and a huge first half for the senior on senior night, Eric Clark.
Rutgers doing a great job getting an established low-post offense. You mentioned it, Bob. Eric Clark playing with emotion. Look at him back at Thomas right down with the easy layup. And we're going to see his front court partner, Hodgson, do a great job getting position against a much bigger Elber Ochina. And then look at all the traffic. Gathers himself with Bergen, then Ochina, and then Thomas comes over for the block, but the left lays it in off the glass.
And Clark can do more than just score, as we'll see here.
Well, look at Rutgers pass the ball around. All 5 guys are going to touch the ball. And the 5th guy, Bob, Sam Sanders, finding Syracuse sleeping on the weak side, elevating for the nice dare.
Now, Syracuse was down by 21, ended the half with a 10-0 run, and this was the big shot.
Well, it was 20-plus points, and Griffin with the large 3-point shot. Inside out, Syracuse needs to get a lot more. They need to come out for the first 5 minutes, Bob, and spark the second half.
As we get a look at the statistics, look at Syracuse's shooting in the first half, 25.9%. Rutgers only 3 of 10 from 3-point range. Can you imagine if they had hit for better than that? They're a 37% shooting team from behind the arc.
Absolutely, and Rutgers not used to going to the foul line, but Syracuse is 4 for 4. Only 4 foul shot attempts, Bob. They need to get the ball down low, the way the Scarlet Knights are attacking the glass.
Todd Bergen only with 5 points all at the end of the half for Syracuse. Etan Thomas led them in scoring, and look at the huge first half by Rob Hodgson.
Well, here's a guy that brings a lunch bucket every time he plays a game, the blue-collar man, but he steps out, hits a couple of threes. He has the ball at the 15-foot area with a couple of easy jump shots, and he's getting the ball to the guys that are open.
So Rutgers did lead by 21. Now they lead by 11. 31-20 at the half. Back with the second half in New Jersey in just a moment.